I wanted to share my Rosicrucian art set. These are Anthroposophic planetary seals, originally by Rudolf Steiner. An artist used Rudolf Steiner's planetary seals and made these beautiful acrylic blocks. And you can get these at the Redbubble website. All the colors are correct. We'll start at the left. You can see the white one, and that is the seal for the sun. The next one over to the right of it, second from the left, is it's supposed to be purple, but it looks like it might be really dark purple, but it's a bluish purple. But that's the seal for the moon. They only had that one, and they had it in blue, but blue is not correct. And then the next one over, third from the left, you can see the red one. That's the seal for Mars. Then after that, the fourth one, the yellow one, is the seal for Mercury. The fifth one from the left is it's supposed to be orange. It has a white background, but if you look closely at it, the image is orange, which is correct because that's the seal for Jupiter, so it should be orange. And then the sixth one is the green one, and that is the seal for Venus. And then finally, the seventh one, all the way to the right, is blue, which is correct. That's the color for Saturn. That's the seal for Saturn. I also get these rose pins from the Redbubble website as well, and they're really nice. I like to give them out as gifts. So we're going to continue talking about meditation a little bit. I know that I said early on in this series that I'm not going to be explaining all of the different meditations and stuff, but it's inevitable that we're going to get into it as part of this book that we're going over here. Knowledge of the Higher Worlds and its attainment on dream life, consciousness, and initiation. So it's inevitable that we're going to talk about meditation. And so last week, I was talking about meditation and meditating for at least 5 minutes per day. And I described several different meditation exercises. But there is one meditation exercise I didn't mention, and it's not one of the lengthy, complicated exercises that I was just alluding to a moment ago that I'm not going to get into this series, although I can teach them, and I will be going over it, those more complicated meditation exercises sometime in the near future. And I've gone over them before in the past. But this particular one is simple, and it can be done in just 5 minutes. So making sure that you're hydrated, of course, is the number one most important thing. Keep the back straight and sit upright is recommended. And you begin by clearing your mind and relaxing your body until you're close to dozing off. You're about to feel like you're about to doze off. And just as you feel like you're dozing off, but before you actually fall asleep, that at that point in time, it's very brief, usually not long after that a person falls asleep. But if you catch yourself, when just as you're dozing off right before you fall asleep, At that point in time, you're in an altered state of consciousness that I call a meditative state. And you just hold that for 5 minutes. You stay in a meditative state, um, and you keep your mind clear and your body relaxed. And that is the meditation. That is a 5-minute meditation. Last week, I also talked about a meditation exercise where you meditate on a stone or a crystal with your eyes open. And then I talked about also meditating on a plant and an animal with your eyes open. But you should also meditate on the same stuff with your eyes closed as well. After meditating on the crystal with your eyes open, imagine the crystal with your eyes closed in your mind. You can spend 5 minutes or so doing that as well. And then you can do the same with a plant or a flower, as well as an animal, as I was talking about last week. Rosicrucians do all of these meditations, and then more advanced, more lengthy ones that I was alluding to when I first began talking. Even if for only 5 minutes per day, we do a meditation. The other day I was busy and I only got to meditate for around 5 minutes, but normally I spend usually in the ballpark of 30 minutes or so a day. Patience is a key to spiritual development. A sincere effort must be made to cultivate patience. Impatience produces a paralyzing, destructive effect on the higher faculties that slumber in us. The student is to contemplate the following thought: I must do everything I can for the training and development of my soul and spirit, but I shall wait patiently until higher powers have found me worthy of enlightenment. So Steiner explains how patience is a key to spiritual development. Patience has to be observed, and it has the effect of attraction, whereas impatience has the effect of repulsion related to the treasures of higher knowledge. The student must not seek higher knowledge out of curiosity, but rather the student must seek higher knowledge for the purpose of perfecting their own being in the service of the evolution of all beings. Next, we're going to go over the 5 golden rules that are required of the student, or that have to be observed by the student. So the first one is the student has to control desire. Do not desire until you know it is right, and do not desire for what is wrong. Number 2, the second golden rule is to control anger. When we become angry or annoyed, we set up a defensive wall around us in the in the soul world. And then the forces that develop the eyes of the soul cannot approach. So if you don't want to become clairvoyant, get angry and annoyed a lot, and that'll prevent you from becoming clairvoyant. It'll prevent you from developing spiritually. The third golden rule, the student cannot be timid, superstitious, racist, ambitious, or curious, as those things will prevent spiritual development. The fourth golden rule, think before speaking. Every word spoken without having been thoroughly thought out is a stone thrown in the way of esoteric training. When someone speaks to the student must consider their opinion and their feelings. The fifth golden rule is to have a gentle character, I guess you could say, and to behave in a gentle way. Patience and gentleness open the soul to the soul world and the spirit to the spirit world. Persevere in silent inner seclusion. Close your senses to all that they brought you before your training. Forget about all of your old bad thoughts and habits. Become still and silent within. Wait patiently, and the higher worlds will begin to form the organs of sight and hearing in your soul and spirit. Spiritual benefit of a rural environment. Dr. Steiner prescribes a rural environment for spiritual development, and he says cities are toxic places. In order to develop spiritually in a city environment, Dr. Steiner recommends extra curriculum, studying more. If you live in the cities, study the Bhagavad Gita or St. John's Gospel, or the writings of St. Thomas à Kempis to overcome the city toxicity. And other books, there's a lot of other books as well. Those are just 3 examples. And so there are 7 conditions of esoteric training that I'm going to go over with you guys. I put them on the whiteboard there. And the first condition, the student must advance their own physical health as well as their spiritual health. And so Rosicrucians are healthy, very healthy people. And not only do we do our inner meditations and our inner exercises, but we also do physical exercises as well. And the name of the exercises is called eurythmy. So you can check out eurythmy if you're interested in that. And eurythmy is spelled EURYTHMY. Eurythmy. The second condition is the student must be coordinated as a link in the whole of life. If I'm a teacher and my pupil doesn't fulfill my expectations, I must not blame my pupil, but rather consider that it is somehow my own fault in the way I'm teaching. Maybe I can improve in some way to better help the pupil to succeed. The third condition is the student must realize that their own thoughts and feelings are as important as their actions. And the Rosicrucian Teachings get all into the power of the mind and the power of what you think and how you feel and the impact it has on everything on you and everything around you. So the fourth condition is the student must realize that their true being is within, not the physical body, which is a vehicle. Anyone regarding themselves as a product of the outer world, as the result of the physical world, cannot succeed in this esoteric training. And then the fifth condition, steadfast in carrying out resolutions. Nothing should induce the student to deviate from a resolution. So the sixth condition is developing a feeling of thankfulness for everything with which man is favored. We must realize our own existence is a gift from the entire universe. And we're going to go on to the final and the seventh condition, which is all these conditions must be united in a seventh, to live life unceasingly according to these conditions. And the above conditions are designed to make the student strong enough to fulfill the demands that are to come in the higher training. If the student fails in these conditions, they will hesitate before each new demand to come, and without fulfilling the conditions, the student will lack the faith in man which he must possess. For all striving for truth must be founded on faith in and true love for man. So at the bottom we have the earth, and we have our physical body and also an etheric body, and that's part of the physical world here on earth. And then the soul, you have the soul and then you have a spirit, and people confuse those two. I'm going to explain the difference. The soul is also known as the astral body, and Rudolf Steiner refers to it as the soul organism, as if it's like a living thing. And if the astral body belongs to the astral world. And then at the very top, you have the spirit body or the thought body, also known as the spirit. And the spirit belongs to the spirit world, also known as Devachan. In Rosicrucian Teachings, we call it Devachan. That's what Rudolf Steiner called it, Devachan. And Devachan is in space. And so you have the physical world and the etheric world are on Earth. And then the spirit world is in space. And then in between the two, you have the astral world, is the easiest way for me to break it down on the whiteboard. And in the next chapter, it's going to be shown how this development affects the higher elements of the human organism. The soul organism, which is known as the astral body, and also the spirit or the thought body, which is the higher of the two. The exercises described previously produce changes in the organism of the soul. The soul is also known as the astral body, as I was explaining before. The astral body can be seen by a clairvoyant and appears as a cloud or an aura of light, in the center of which the physical body is discernible. And so you can see here that I am depicting the astral body is purple, the outer part surrounding the physical body. It's also referred to as the aura, the human aura, and it's more like a cloud. And it's not really shaped like the physical body. The etheric body is shaped like the physical body, which I'll explain later a little bit more. So the student who has become clairvoyant can read the aura of other people, and it will tell them definite things about the person, depending on the color of the aura and whether its outline is sharp or not. The astral body of someone who hasn't developed spiritually is confused and undifferentiated. The astral body or soul has organs perceptible to the clairvoyant near the following parts of the physical body. The first location is between the eyes, and here I put it in yellow. The second location is the larynx, which is the area of the throat, and that I put that in blue and red and pink. And then I'm just using different colors. The third is the area of the heart. The fourth is the pit of the stomach at the very bottom. And then the fifth and sixth are located in the abdomen, really in the area of the stomach as well, maybe a little higher. So these organs are commonly referred to as wheels, chakras, or lotus flowers. And so now I put little marks around them to make it look like they're glowing, like they're lit up. Those aren't supposed to be the lotus flowers. Because there's only a certain amount of petals per wheel or per chakra. But if you want an example of what a lotus flower is like, if you look at these planetary seals, which are geometric, sacred geometric shapes, um, they all have 7 petals, you'll notice. And if you look at the stars, they have 7 points. And so that's just an example. In undeveloped people, their lotus flowers are dark and motionless. But the lotus flowers in a clairvoyant are lit up and they turn different colors and they move and spin. Now, as the student begins to develop, the lotus flowers become more and more luminous. Later on, they begin to revolve. And when this occurs, clairvoyance begins. The lotus flowers are the sense organs of the astral body or soul. The organ in the pit of the stomach has a 10-petal flower or a 10-spoke wheel. The organ in the region of the heart has 12 petals, and the organ in the region of the larynx, in the area of the throat, is supposed to have 16, but only 8 have been developed in people. Okay, next I'm going to go over the 16-petal lotus flower, which is located in the area of the larynx or the throat. And there's 8 functions of the soul that are required to develop the 8 remaining lotus flowers of the 16-petal lotus flower, because only 8 of them are available, and then 8 need to be developed. So first is devotion to truth, which is real important, and it's also important the way ideas and conceptions are acquired. Normally, people go with whatever the flow is around them. And that'll prevent the lotus flowers from developing. The student must form ideas and conceptions based on self-education and then guard those ideas and conceptions. Cultivating thoughts of truth is key, very key. And you want to be careful of how you form ideas and conceptions. It's important. We'll get into it more as we continue here in a few minutes, but you want to make sure you use rational, logical thinking and stuff like that. Number 2 is control of resolutions. And the student must not resolve anything without founded, thorough consideration. And then 3 is control of speech. The student should not utter a word devoid of sense and meaning, and must be careful not to talk too much, and also honor the gift of speech. And then 4 is regulation of action, controlling behavior, so a person doesn't disturb others, and so it conforms to with the spiritual training and the spiritual development and everything that you're learning. 5th is management of life and living in conformity with both nature and spirit. Never over hasty, but also never indolent. Avoid too much activity, but also avoid being lazy. And then 7 is, did I put 7? I'm sorry, 6. 6 is human endeavor for perfection. So endeavor to fulfill obligations better and more perfectly, always striving for perfection. So 7 is devotion to learning. And so learning, you want to learn as much as from life as you possibly can. Nothing passes before the student without giving him or her the occasion to learn. And then 8th is introspection, basically staying on the path. The student must occasionally look introspectively into himself, take counsel with himself, consider the fundamental principles of his or her life, run over the sum total of knowledge, weigh your duties, and reflect upon the content and aim of life. Basically, to stay tuned and on the path. With development, the 16-petal lotus flower begins to light up in bluish red and reddish pink shades of color, basically in the area of the throat or the larynx, as I was explaining. The function of the 16-petal lotus flower organ is to perceive forms, thoughts of other beings, basically appear in forms. So next we're going to go over the 12-petal lotus flower, which is located in the area of the heart. And the 12-petal lotus flower organ, when developed, reveals to the clairvoyant a deep understanding of the processes of nature. It is located in the region of the heart, as I just mentioned. And there are 6 functions of soul that are required to develop the 6 remaining petals of this 12-petal lotus flower. So first is control of thoughts, and controlling thoughts and the way you think. Illogical thinking is avoided. Irrational thinking is avoided, for example. And then 2 is control of actions. 3 is perseverance. So you want to cultivate endurance. 4 is forbearance or tolerance, and towards other people, animals, beings, and circumstances. And then 5th is impartiality, and also it has to do with faith and truth. So impartiality towards everything life brings. And then having faith, the student meets every being and every creature with trust. So I made a mistake. I was supposed to put faith and trust, not truth. So I'm going to correct that now. I only have to correct 2 letters because truth and trust are almost the same. So it's faith and trust for number 5. Again, having faith, the student meets every being and every creature with trust. And then 6, inner balance, equanimity. And so the student endeavors to retain their composure in the face of joy or sorrow. So next we're going to talk about the 10-petal lotus flower, which is located in the area of the pit of the stomach. And so the 10-petal lotus flower is developed by not being fooled by illusion or fantasy. The student receives no impressions beyond those he or she wishes to receive. The student practices the power of hearing nothing even during the greatest disturbances. Eyes unimpressionable to things you aren't focused on. The student must be shielded by an inner armor against all unconscious impressions. It takes extreme self-discipline for the 10-petal lotus flower to attain its proper form. The colored aura of other creatures becomes visible once the 10-petal lotus flower becomes activated. So next we're going to go over the 6-petal lotus flower, which is located in the area of the abdomen, roughly in the area of the stomach. And so still greater difficulty is required to develop the 6-petal lotus flower, which requires complete mastery and control of the whole personality through consciousness of higher self, so that body, soul, and spirit form one harmonious whole. The functions of the body, the inclinations and passions of the soul, and the thoughts and ideas of the spirit must be tuned to perfect unison. The body must be so ennobled and purified that its organs do nothing that is not in the service of soul and spirit. The six-petaled flower organ permits intercourse with beings of higher worlds, but only when they manifest in the astral world, which is also the soul world, as I was explaining earlier. And we also have an etheric body that needs to be developed as well. When a clairvoyant looks at someone, they can see the person's etheric body inside of the astral cloud or astral aura. I like to call it the astral aura because a lot of people talk about the aura and they don't necessarily understand what that means. And I'm explaining what it means. And so, as I was saying, they can see the person's etheric body inside the astral cloud or astral aura. The etheric body resembles the physical body and is the color of a peach blossom. And every living, everything that's alive, everything living has an etheric body. And I depicted the etheric body in my little drawing here using a pink outline around the black. I drew the physical body in black, and then just outside of that, you'll see a pink outline that's basically the same shape as the physical body, and that's supposed to depict the etheric body. Whereas the purple glow, if you look at the purple glow or cloud around, the whole body, that is a representation of the astral body or the astral aura. And so there's 4 attributes that are required for higher knowledge, and I'm going to go over them now with you guys in closing here. And so outer discernment is the first one, and having the ability to tell truth from falsehood. Inner discernment is the second one, and being able to tell the difference between truth and appearance, but more so on an inner level as far as, knowing yourself, knowing your thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. Third is the practice of the 6 functions of the soul that we mentioned previously. Thought control, control of actions, perseverance is 3, 4 is tolerance, 5th is faith, and then 6th is equanimity. Equanimity. And then 4 is love of inner freedom, or love for inner freedom. And we're going to finish up this series next week with the final video. And I'll start with part 6, which is going to be entitled The Transformation of Dream Life. I hope you join me then. Thanks for watching.